Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to What's the Damage, the good old WTD question mark here on my channel, the segment on this channel where I can unleash all of my inner rage and sadness and anger and sorrow, all of the negative emotions that come from being human, you know? And today I'm going to be doing another baseball related video, and this one is going to be in What's the Damage because it's sort of, you know, I'm going to be breaking down a topic in a negative way because it's not wholly positive to me, you know? I don't think it would have fit in the mixer, you know? I just wanted to do this in WTD because, well, it involves a lot of money, and because I don't have a lot of money myself in real life, maybe I'm envious, you know, maybe I'm really pissed off that baseball pays their players so much money, man. In case you guys don't know, if you're not familiar with how sports works, MLB, you know, the Major League Baseball Association of America, they actually have the highest salaries for their players in the entirety of the country. So, you know, the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, they don't even come close, you know, and it all boils down to three things, which is the players union, revenue sharing, and no salary cap, you know. Usually American sports have a salary cap which limits the amount of money that a player can make, you know, in a particular contract or a season or an entire, you know, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, you know. There are limitations, but not in baseball. As a matter of fact, baseball employs a luxury tax which applies to teams whose total payroll exceeds the objectives for a given season, you know. So I don't know, for example, let's say they set a certain threshold like winning the World Series, and then they'll get more money on top of that, you know. The World Series will pay a certain amount of money for the team that wins, and then there's the luxury tax, you know. So if their payroll exceeds their thresholds for the season, they get paid a lot more money, man. And you know, it's funny because free agency didn't even exist in the MLB, you know, prior to the reserve clause in the 1970s, you know, because at the time the owners could dictate, you know, how much money players would make. So that would actually result in very low salaries, you know. Just to give you an idea, Babe Ruth, who was considered to be the greatest baseball player in history, I did a video about him some time ago wearing the same shirt, by the way, you know, this classic New York Yankees jersey, you know, back when they were still called the Bronx. They are from New York, you guys should know that. So to give you an idea, Babe Ruth made throughout his entire playing career $856,850, which when you convert into today's money, you know, when you adjust it for inflation, it actually adds up to over $19.5 million, which is freaking insane. It is crazy, you know, and it's still significantly lower than what players make today, you know. Throughout the video, I'm gonna sprinkle in some players, you know, specifically the top 3 highest earning baseball players in history, and you guys are gonna get an idea of how much little 19.5 million actually is, man. That is not a lot of money at all, you know. It might seem that way, especially back in the 1930s, but this is crazy. So here's the first one. The first player that I'm gonna show you guys is Alex Rodriguez, who played from 1994 to 2016. He was a shortstop and a third baseman, and well, it might be a little shocking, all right? Here is some footage of Alex doing something with the amount that he made throughout his career on screen.
The dimensions of the ballpark do play a big role in triples.
Nice play by Alex. Can he get the speedy Tejada? Yes! Nice play by Alex Rodriguez. He threw the ball off balance from foul territory, and he is pumped up with that play. So is the rest of the Yankee team. A backhand and the jump throw to first.
Can you imagine making that much money from playing a sport? I understand that athletes are filthy rich, and I also understand why, but god dang. Oh boy. So here's the thing. There is such a thing as the MLBPA, which is the Major League Baseball Players Association, and they represent all 40 MLB teams, you know, and there are a few perks, you know, when you're represented by them, you know. So because along with the players, the union also covers and protects anybody with a signed MLB contract. So that also includes, you know, coaches and managers, even trainers, you know, the staff in general. So they really do a lot of managing when it comes to the money that goes in and out, right? So now each member does pay a daily price, you know, for being represented by them, you know, under that protection there, but it's really not that hefty of a price when you stop to think about it. They are in charge also of collective bargaining for each member, as well as group licensing to ensure that the players are actually being paid, you know, for the uselessness of their names, their numbers, their nicknames, their likeness, signatures, whatever other aspects that they represent in the sport. So it is very fair, you know. You might think that maybe they're being exploited, but baseball, because of the luxury tax, actually seem to be much more lenient when it comes to this, you know. The Players Association, every sport has one, every major North American sport has one, you know, to protect the players in this kind of thing. So now This association is also meant to increase the players' salaries as well, you know, which does help them out quite a bit so they can play ball for longer and make more and more money. It also protects their individual rights as well, you know, and also gives them support with any issues, you know, with contract agreements, you know, it's all right here. They also have rights to impartial third-party independence, you know, to settle disputes and that kind of thing. So, and also I'm reading directly from my little script here, you know, which I put together here. It's really nice, you know. I'm not going to show you though, it's mine, it's my script, I'm reading it. You can get your own script later, okay? I'm reading directly from my source here. Yeah, so okay, so now it also gives them the ability to strike if they ever felt the need to, you know, so, you know, until their demands are met, you know, or for a variety of different factors within the MLB, you know, to change them in any particular season. So it also gives everybody involved the right to fight for their earnings and dedicate themselves, you know, to being highly competitive, and also a very long and demanding season that does generate billions of dollars in revenue. A lot of people might think baseball is boring, but it does make a lot of money, you know. Don't ever sleep on baseball, man. It makes a surprising large amount of money every year. It's freaking insane, actually. I don't know, it's crazy. Now, that is actually one of the things that actually sets up the players to make that much money, you know. The players union is very, very important for the MLB players to make as much cash as they do. And to give you an idea, yet again, of how much money we're talking about, I'm going to show you guys another player here who was the second highest paid MLB player in history, which is Miguel Cabrera, who played from 2003 to 2023 as a first baseman and designated hitter. I'm going to show you a clip here of him doing something on the field with the amount of money that he made showing up on screen.
Fly ball, right field, hit well, way back, that ball is up, and he's done it again! Incredible. Miguel Cabrera is just absolutely unbelievable. Incredible.
Now, bear in mind, this guy retired last year. You know, look at all that money he made throughout his playing career. My God, man. So the next factor, you know, which is also very vital, is revenue sharing, which is basically when the teams take a percentage of their combined yearly local revenues, you know, and they compile them so they can be shared evenly among the MLB teams. So, you know, like, you know, we're talking ticket sales, concession stands, parking, merchandise, everything goes into the revenue sharing, which is actually very fair because it prevents lucrative teams from just dominating the league by buying a bunch of really good players and offering them, you know, massive contracts, you know. This actually helps the smaller MLB teams, you know, start to gain a little bit of traction, because even a small team that's not historically successful, you know, can actually offer really massive contracts to big players if they want to. So it keeps the league a lot more fair, in my opinion, you know. I mean, that's kind of how it is. So it really balances itself out, because if this didn't happen, then teams like the Yankees or the Cubs, you know, or the White Sox could just buy a bunch of really good players every year and not give anybody else a chance. You know, it would be really annoying. So this is actually very, very fair. And there were players who complained at a point that they were losing money because of revenue sharing, you know, because there were some moments where, you know, certain organizations wouldn't really make an effort to, you know, offer them really competitive contracts, you know. But sometimes, like, a player would be worth a lot less than their contract would demonstrate. Like, a player would suck but still make way too much money than he deserved, or the opposite, you know. A player would be really good but not make enough money as another player, and that would actually lead them to strike, which would be backed by the players union, you know. Another really, really interesting factor is the lack of a salary cap, and this is the big one. This is the big one here, because the MLBPA will not agree to a salary cap, you know, because they know that it's going to result in more money for the owners and less money for the players, you know, and that's not what they want, you know. Because the MLBPA is meant to protect the staff, you know, the players, the coaches, the trainers, you know, all the other affiliates from being ripped off, you know, so they don't get lowballed or get cut out from the payouts, you know, that the owners would have, because the team owners would definitely take a very fat, you know, chunk of the percentage that the team would make, you know, that a franchise would make in a season if there was a salary cap. So the lack of it is one of the reasons why these teams can make so much freaking money, you know. This would definitely put a definite amount on the money that the owners would be able to pay the players every year and every season. So, you know, that's why the players' salaries are so big, you know. The MLB is the only North American sports league that doesn't have a salary cap. So the NHL has one, the NBA has one, and the the NFL have one, you know. All of the major sports leagues in America have a salary cap except for the MLB. And that's why the players make so much freaking money every year, you know. The owners are obviously pushing for a salary cap. They want there to be a limit so they can make more money, but the MLB's like, no, the Players Association just refuses to employ a salary cap, and with very good reason, you know, because they know that the players would have less salaries and they would overextend how much money the owners make. Now, one more time, I'm going to show you yet another video here of an athlete. His name is Justin Verlander. He started playing in 2006 and is still active today. He's a pitcher for the Houston Astros, and he currently has the third highest salary of any baseball player ever. Why did I do this? He didn't die. And he, bear in mind, is still playing right now. So the number that you guys are going to see on screen can still grow exponentially before he retires.
You could tell it took a pitch that was a yard away. They could end it, they would tie it. 2 balls and no strikes. It would take a missile to not score him at second base with that lead. Good pitch. 2-1.
Now imagine how much money he's going to have made when he retires. You know, this guy's 41, man, and he's still pitching. So don't know when he's gonna stop. Now you guys have to remember one thing here as we go into the final stretch. Major League Baseball is at its core a business, and a business wants to make profits. And how do you make profits in baseball? By having a very good team, you know, preferably the best team in the league, and also have the largest fan base, you know, and use those two to make money, you know, because the more games that a team plays well, the more fans are going to want to go and cheer them on and buy merchandise, whether it's jerseys or other memorabilia, spend money, you know, in the actual games, like buying food and stuff, you know, ticket sales also. Like whenever a game is sold out, that generates a lot of money for a sports team, you know, and the more successful a team is, the more games they'll play and the more games they'll win and the more people will want to see the games. And then there's also the television broadcast, you know, they make money with that as well. So everything around an MLB team comes back to making money, you know. So you know, and also the longer that a team plays, the more money that they'll make, you know. Like, you know, some of the most lucrative teams in baseball history are the oldest ones, you know, like for example the Yankees, you know, or the Pittsburgh Pirates and Cincinnati Reds. They're very, very old teams, you know, so they still make a lot of money today, right? I would go on to say that the Yankees are probably the most lucrative franchise because they've won 27 freaking World Series, you know. They've had really good players like Babe Ruth, and then there was, you know, the Murderer's Row back in the 1920s. So, you know, the longer that a team plays and finds success, the more money that they'll make, you know. But the factors that I talked about in this video, the players union, the revenue sharing, and the no salary cap, you know, they are actually considered a bit controversial, especially the lack of a salary cap, you know, because some people feel like there should be a limit, but at the same time they may not agree with owners making more money because owners don't really do a lot, you know. Like, I mean, it is very stressful and tough to be a GM, you know, but they're not the ones who were there playing the game, you know. As Michael Jordan and Jerry Krause famously made clear, you know, the Chicago Bulls hated Jerry Krause in the 90s because he kept taking all of the credit and they were the ones who were on the court playing and winning the games for him, you know. So it's kind of like the same thing. And these topics are addressed regularly, you know, in both the league and the player negotiations in baseball, you know. So it's always on the table. They're always talking about it, you know. But I think right now it's just really, I don't know, man. I personally don't think that there should be so much money given to athletes when there are people around the world who need it so much more. I understand them making money with brand deals and commercials, advertisements, you know, and just playing well in general. Like LeBron James is a freaking billionaire, you know, but he has been playing his ass off for 21 years, you know, and he does make a lot of money in and outside of it. But, you know, a salary cap, although it is unfair for the owners to make more money than the players, you know, it does make sense to have some sort of limitation, you know. You could argue that it ruins sports like the NFL specifically because the Super Bowl makes so much freaking money every year and yet the players only see a fraction of it, you know. But still, I think that's just how it is sometimes, right? I am against salary caps, you know, and baseball not having, I am not against salary caps, and baseball not having one makes it very unfairly, you know, I don't know, it just makes it, I don't know, man. The players make way too much money for my taste, you know. It's not that they don't deserve it, it's just a little bit too much. I mean, Alex making almost $500 million bucks, man. What the hell? I mean, that's $500 million for playing a sport. you know? I don't know. But still, that's just my opinion. That's why this video was in What's the Damage, you know? I think it's way too exaggerated. There should be a salary cap in baseball. Maybe if they do it the right way, it can become a little bit fair. Or maybe not, because salary caps aren't really made to be fair, right? But that's just me. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this topic. If you agree, disagree, should baseball have a salary cap? Should it continue to not have one? What are your opinions about salary caps in general? Let me know, and I will probably run a poll or two about this on the community tab after this video goes up, so stay tuned for that. And if you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell too so you can know exactly what time I upload, and it's all good. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the non-salary capped outro screen.